What? Getting back here is not easy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for another What's in My Backpack video. Oh my gosh, this thing is so heavy. Now, I haven't done one of these in over 2 years, I think, and even though I get a request probably at least once a month for an updated What's in My Backpack video, I held off because, quite honestly, before now, I really didn't change my setup since 2017. I got a new MacBook, but really nothing else changed. But all things must come to an end. All things must change. All things must take a new form. And that is exactly what my backpack is doing now. So basically, I've been doing a lot of traveling lately. And while my MacBook Pro is powerful, it's not quite the setup that I wanted it to be. So I have built what I consider to be the ultimate no compromises portable workstation. Now, what do I mean by no compromises? Well, when I'm at home, I've got access to my dual 4K monitors actually, gaming workstation, which has a powerful CPU, a lot of RAM, a very good graphics card, and it also runs Windows so I can play games. And even though I've been using Mac OS and Windows for over 10 years concurrently on a daily basis, I actually prefer Windows. So I have decided to take the leap and switch over to Windows, and not just switch to Windows on the laptop side, but try to build an equivalent experience, or to get as close as I can to that desktop holy grail. So that is what I'm going to show you today. We're going to go through my backpack, which now contains the ultimate portable workstation, along with a few other doodads that you might find interesting. But before we get inside the bag, let's talk a little bit about the bag itself. Now, if you saw my 2017 video, the bag itself has not changed. This is the eBags Professional Slim Laptop Backpack, and it is still my favorite backpack for everyday work use and also for traveling. I've got all my clothes in a suitcase. I bring this on the plane. It's everything that I want it to be. Not least of which, because you get this bottom pocket here that is just perfect for your laptop brick, your charging cord, maybe a couple of other things, but it's nice and separated from everything else in the bag, and it makes that charge cord really, really accessible. The other thing that I like a lot is the flip out organizational kind of flap here. I have never seen another backpack do this. It kind of lets you get access to all these pockets, the little pen holders, everything, without having to dig in. And that is one of the main reasons I like this bag. So that being said, let's talk about the ultimate portable gaming / productivity workstation, all right? So the brains of the operation is a pretty new laptop. This is the Asus ROG, I guess Republic of Gamers, Zephyrus GX701. It's a 17-inch gaming laptop, but it's actually pretty thin and light. It's no MacBook Pro, it's no MacBook Air, but it's, for a 17-inch gaming laptop, quite thin and pretty portable actually. I think the way they've done this is, number one, they've made the bezels of the screen just much thinner than I've seen on previous gaming laptops. They also cut out the webcam, which some people on the internet are kind of mad about. I could really care less personally. And another cool thing is when you open the laptop, it literally raises itself up with this cool like hinge thing that comes out of the bottom to add extra cooling capacity. So this thing can run Adobe Premiere. I can do all my editing much better than any other laptop that I've used in the past. It can run games at ridiculous frame rates. And it's honestly pretty great to work with. The only quirk that I've noticed is, well, the keyboard is at the bottom. So if you have like a little tiny counter to work at, like a coffee shop or something, it's not the ideal laptop because it's coming right up to the edge. And I personally kind of like to have a little bit of room to, put my wrists down, or at least have some room for my arms. But if there's a big enough table wherever I'm going, this thing works just fine. Now, my desktop is dual monitor, and you're thinking this thing, 17-inch screen, it's pretty good, but it's not dual monitor, Tom. It's not the ultimate no compromises portable gaming setup if you don't have a second monitor. And to that I say, I do. So this is a pretty cool little new addition. This is a USB-C portable full HD 1080p monitor, and it actually plugs into the laptop with just a single USB-C cord, and it's got this cool smart case which allows you to kind of fold it into different configurations. So that one works for just your standard landscape orientation, and then you can actually fold these down and put it into portrait mode if you're like a coder or something like that. You can get all your code on there, I guess, man. Like 100 lines of code. So those two taken together enable me to have a perfect dual screen setup wherever I am, as long as I have a big enough table. I use the keyboard on the laptop, but another kind of compromise with the laptop is the trackpad is really small. Honestly, the gestures are amazing. The drivers they have put into this thing make it nearly as good as a MacBook Pro's trackpad in terms of how smooth it feels, which I found very surprising, but it's just kind of tiny and it's not the easiest thing in the world to use. So instead, I've got a Corsair, I believe this is the Dark Core wireless gaming mouse, and I've also got a mouse pad in here. So these together, I mean, this is it, guys. This is basically no compromises. The CPU in a laptop is never really gonna match what you get in a desktop, so video render times are longer. You can't do quite as insane of animations in a program like After Effects as you can on the desktop, but this is pretty much as close as you're gonna get unless you wanna lug around one of those truly huge laptops with like a desktop grade graphics card. And at that point, you're getting a different backpack and you're gonna have to do a lot of squats and need a lot of oats, which, you know, I do, but I don't wanna have to do that many squats. All right, so getting into the rest of the backpack's contents here, what you guys are probably actually curious about. Here in the bottom pocket here, like I said, this is great for storing charge cords and the, you know, computer brick for your laptop. And then up here, we've got a couple of other things. One, we got a single folder for papers. Now, stay tuned for next week's video because I'm doing a whole guide on file organization. I've got some alternative options for people who get a lot of papers. But if you're like me, if you digitize almost everything that you get and you're also not in school and don't get a whole lot of handouts, I think a single folder is perfectly adequate for storing papers temporarily and then, you know, coming home later on and getting them either digitized or into an actual filing cabinet. Okay, so for the next item, I want to go back to one of the drawbacks I mentioned for this gaming laptop. The battery life is not the greatest thing in the world, and if I have easy access to a plug, that isn't an issue, but on occasion I'm going to go to a place where I just don't have an outlet and I might need to do a lot of work. So if I'm doing heavy duty, you know, video editing, gaming, all kinds of stuff like that, it's going to happen on the laptop. But if I'm just doing a really simple task like writing, I don't necessarily need this. So if I'm traveling somewhere, I don't want to bring two laptops, I can just bring this iPad mini. And with the case here, it can easily stand up and then I can pair it with a Bluetooth keyboard. Now this is not the Apple Bluetooth keyboard, this is a Logitech K811, but I find this to be a lot better than Apple's Bluetooth keyboard. The key travel just, it feels nicer, it feels more substantial. And the other nice thing is it can actually switch between 3 different Bluetooth devices. So if you've got an iPad and maybe like a desktop computer or a phone, you could easily switch between them. But put those 2 things together and you have a really nice portable writing setup that lasts for 10, 12 hours. Oh, one little other feature that I didn't mention about this backpack, it does have this nice padded and shallow pocket in the top here that's perfect for an iPad mini or for a little notebook. Again, just like with the folders, I don't do a whole lot with paper. I don't take a whole lot of notes by hand, but occasionally I do want to draw something out or I want to write some notes by hand. So I've just got this little free notebook that I got from a co-working space in there, and I can make to-do lists and all kinds of other stuff. And that brings us to the, I guess, the main pocket of the backpack. This is like the laptop pocket, but there's more room in here. The first thing that I have here, this isn't something that I keep in my backpack all the time, but when I'm traveling, I put this sort of long 3-prong, that's the most important part, 3-prong extension cord in the backpack. That way, if I need to sit somewhere that's not very close to an outlet, I have a little bit of extra length that I can use to plug in. The other thing is this cord has 3 plugs on there. So number one, if I need to charge multiple devices, I can do that. But if I'm at an airport or I'm at a very busy coffee shop where all the outlets have been dominated by other people, I can make new friends. I can split one outlet into 2 and I'm good to go. Also in this main pocket, we've got the headphones. These are the same headphones I've been using for 2 years. They're the Bose QC35s. They're wireless Bluetooth noise canceling headphones, and the noise canceling aspect is the game changer. I was unconvinced about active noise canceling until my friend Martin let me try his, I think they were Beats noise canceling headphones a couple of years ago. Right away, I was sold on the benefits, because when you have that active noise canceling, it essentially opens up a whole plethora of different study spaces and workspaces to you, because where places were too noisy before, they are now perfectly workable. So if you've got a coffee shop where they blast the music too loud or people are always talking, you can just pop these on and you are not going to hear any of what is going on around you, and you can actually focus on what you got to do. And last thing in this pocket is just a big novel. I would usually read books on the Kindle app, but I just really wanted the physical version of this because I saw it sitting on a bookstore shelf, and Children of Ruin it's a sequel to a sci-fi novel that I read last year, and it's absolutely fantastic so far. And that brings us to all like the knickknack stuff, right? All the tiny little things in here. So got a couple of things, marker, there's like various little knickknacks in here, but this is just a little business card case, and I always recommend just carrying around a couple of business cards. You know, if you are trying to find clients, trying to find potential colleagues to work with, if you're looking for a job, just having a couple of business cards in your backpack will allow you to, you know, hand someone one and let them remember you in a pretty classy way. What else? Oh yeah, we got all our cords, every single kind of cord that you could want. So micro USB, mini USB, USB-C, Apple Lightning is in there. Also, we got dongles because, you know, I went to that new MacBook Pro last year, so I'm living that dongle life, and it's not all that necessary on the big Windows laptop. The I/O is pretty good on that thing, but it does have HDMI and the SD card reader slot. That's one thing that almost all laptops I see nowadays have been jettisoning. So as a content creator, as a YouTuber with a SD card and that camera right there, kind of need the dongle. Presentation remote, so if you do speeches anywhere, a presentation remote that plugs into your laptop and lets you advance slides can be really, really handy. And a pair of cheap sunglasses. I don't buy expensive sunglasses because I break or lose them all the time, so I just buy like packs of 3 or 5 on Amazon for $1, and you know, ironically, I haven't lost a pair in quite a while, but these also didn't cost me much and they work perfectly fine for me. And lastly, we've just got a few things in here. Flash drive. I still actually use a flash drive, even though I'm a devotee of Google Drive and in the past Dropbox. Sometimes you need to transfer big files quickly. For example, I will be giving all the footage for this video to my editor, and even though we could transfer it online, it's going to be quicker for him to just take this flash drive home and then immediately transfer the footage to his computer, because there's going to be gigabytes of it. Oh, how could I forget my John Wick coin? Just in case I get excommunicado sometime, I'm going to need this to buy, I don't know, various weaponry or a suit or a dog. Got the webcam that comes with the laptop. One thing I will note about this is, even though some people are kind of annoyed that they didn't build the laptop with a webcam in the chassis, the webcam that they include in the box is actually a lot better than most laptops have built in. So for my money, this is actually a better solution, because when I want to use a webcam, I would rather it be higher quality than be built into my laptop. And finally, rounding things out, we have a little USB thing for the wireless mouse and a couple of iPhone bricks, and that's about it. So that is it. That is basically everything in my bag. Though one thing that I do want to mention before we end this video is this book that I mentioned earlier, Children of Ruin. I'm about 135 pages into it so far, and I'm gonna make a prediction now that this will be my favorite sci-fi novel of 2019. And I say that with confidence because the first book in this series, Children of Time, was indeed my favorite sci-fi novel of 2018. It was absolutely fantastic. Listen, actually, because I listened to it while I was on a 10-hour trip from Denver to Iowa for Christmas. And if you want to dig into that book as well, now is a great time to do it because you can get it on Audible. And if you are an Amazon Prime member, you can actually get 3 months of Audible for just $4.95 per month by going over to audible.com/Thomas or by texting Thomas to 500-500 on your phone. And that is an excellent deal because you're basically getting 3 months for the price of one, but you're gonna wanna do it soon because that offer ends July 31st. Now, for my part, Audible is one of my most used apps on a daily basis because whenever I'm commuting somewhere or going for a long bike ride or cooking dinner, I love to listen to audiobooks. And Audible is the best place on the internet to get your hands on audiobooks. They have the largest library of audiobook titles that you're gonna find anywhere, including all the bestsellers and both of my recommendations for this month. Because in addition to Children of Time, I'm also going to recommend The Productivity Project by Chris Bailey. And the reason I'm recommending this one is because we are getting really close to a new semester and the productivity project is an excellent productivity overview. If you want to learn how to manage your time, your attention, and your energy more efficiently, it is a great book to dig through. Now, with Audible, you get 1 credit every single month that is good for any audiobook in their library, plus 2 Audible originals that you cannot get anywhere else, and hundreds of audio workout and meditation and fitness programs. So if you are an Amazon Prime member, you can go over to audible.com/Thomas or text Thomas to 500 on your phone to get 3 months of Audible for just $4.95 for each of those months. Big thanks, as always, goes out to Audible for sponsoring this video and being a big supporter of my channel, and thank you for watching as well. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button, get subscribed right there, and also download a free copy of my book on how to earn better grades over there. Last but not least, you can find a couple more videos on this channel right over here, and I will see you in next week's video.